42 points to France, 26 points to the Wallabies. France are now showing their class. They brought not their strongest team, but a very strong team, probably near the strongest team. Some really good players playing today. Jalibert, Intermac, Maxime Luku, Theo Atisogbe, Fabien Braubery, Jerome Mofana, all these guys. They played really well today, and I thought the first half, it looked like it was going to be a battle to the very end. At halftime, the Wallabies creep back as well, but then it was just a bloodbath. Then France opened up, and the Wallabies had no answer. It was almost like the momentum was just too strong in France's favour, and you can't allow France to get momentum like that. You can't give them that momentum, because they will take it, and they will just run with it. Like a South Africa as well, like a Ireland, like a New Zealand, they will take that momentum, and they won't give it back. So, ruthless from France in the second half. Positives for Australia once again in the first half, but overall a negative. At home, losing a game like that, not the best thing you want to see. It didn't look like they gave up. They just didn't have an answer. But they still have the players that can beat teams like this. I mean, you saw the tries the Wallabies scored. You saw the way they were playing, the intensity they were playing. It's just something that happened in that second half where, once again, second half dip, where last year the Wallabies had good second half performances. It's almost like the All Blacks a year and a half ago, where the second half performances just weren't there. And I don't even think it's actually a coaching thing. I think it's a mental thing. So they're going to maybe have to kind of adjust something in their play there in the second half to get the most out of their players, because France really they were running them rampant in the second half. That was a really good performance from France in the second half. But before we do go through the stats and the key players from the game, if you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. I really do appreciate all the support. I really do. There will be player ratings for both these teams coming out, probably either halftime of the Ireland game or just after the Ireland game as well. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be a lot more content coming out today. So thank you so much for all the support as well. I really do appreciate it. But let's go through some of the stats here. So France led for 46 minutes of the game. Australia led for 26 minutes of the game. France led for 57% of the game, whereas Australia led for 32. So not a one-sided game by any means. Yes, the end of the game was, but not a one-sided game at all. A very close game if you look at it from that perspective. It's just that second half that really had a big influence on the game. I mean, even the possession in the last 10 minutes. You can see the Wallabies were trying to fight till the very end. 87% possession in the last 10 minutes as well. So they were just trying to fight too little too late. But we'll look at some of the match summary stats here. 6 tries for France, 4 for the Wallabies, 3 conversions each, 2 penalty goals for France, 0 for the Wallabies. 151 carries for Australia, 132 carries for France, 14 line breaks for France with less carries, only 5 for the Wallabies. And that's a scary stat there, because that just shows the Wallabies defense wasn't up for it that much today, because you have guys like Max Jorgensen, you have guys like Tom Wright, you have guys like Filippo Danguni on the bench, Len Ikitau, Joseph Suali'i. All these guys are incredible game-breaking players. But the opposition team, with Fabien Braubery, Jerome Mofana, Theo Atisogbe, Maxime Luku, Mathieu Jalibert, Roman Intermac, 14 line breaks. How do you let that happen? I mean, at this level of rugby, that just goes to show that France really came to play today. They played to their strengths. They threw the ball around. They were careless with the ball, but that's when they play their best. Sorry if you can hear sound in the background. I think the neighbors are trying to put up a pool because there is a heat wave here right now. So I apologize for that sound. I'm not going to tell them to stop because it is very warm. Turnovers lost, 12 turnovers lost for the Wallabies, 11 for France, so quite even there, and not a good stat to be honest there for both of those teams. Turnovers won, 5 for the Wallabies, 1 for France, and those turnovers won is where you can really capitalize. That could be a penalty turnover one where you kick for the corner or kick for poles even if it's in a good position, or at least just do something with the ball. But just judging by all the stats already and looking at the game myself, the Wallabies weren't ruthless enough when they had the opportunities to be. They kind of played in their shell a bit, almost like I said for Ruben Love's performance with the All Blacks. They played in their shell a bit at times. At the first half, they played really well with a lot of intensity, but then they went into their shell, whereas France were the complete opposite. They were throwing the ball around, they were doing passes behind the back, they were having fun with it, they were playing to their strengths, and the Wallabies have players like that. I think the Wallabies today actually had better attacking players than some of the France guys, but they just didn't play that way. So France really stepped it up today. They absolutely did. But we'll look at some of the key players from the game before we dive a bit more into the team stats as well. Maxime Luku with 12 points. What a player. What a performance. What a captain. Last try scorer of the game was Jeremy Williams. 17 carries for Lenny Nushi. We knew this guy was going to come. He was going to be a bulldozer. He's still a youngster as well. He doesn't look young, but he is young. I think he's 21 or 22. He is a big boy. He plays for Montpellier. 17 carries. Really helped break that wall down of the Australian defenders. 20 tackles completed for Marco Gazzotti, and these youngsters from France are incredible. Jagu, Noshi, Lenny Noshi, Gazzotti, all these guys as well, Diawati Sogbe, Fabien Bralbury, all these youngsters are playing some incredible rugby right now with some incredible confidence, and they're looking really good and dominant as well. So 17 carries for Lenny Noshi, big number there. 20 tackles completed for Marco Gazzotti. These aren't regular France players either. Normally these are some other guys like Anthony Jalonge or Oscar Jagu and these guys right now. To see these guys is very good for the France future, for the future of France rugby. 2 line breaks for Diawati Sogbe, and this guy's playing with so much confidence. He's making the game look easy. This guy's playing some incredible rugby. 2 turnovers, 1 for Fraser McWright. He was one of those Wallaby players that really stepped it up today, brought the intensity, brought the kind of desire to try win the game. You could just see he was fighting till the very end. He just couldn't get it right. Mathieu Jalibert once again, 5 defenders beaten, and this guy beats defenders for fun. He almost always, the first person in his way, the first defender in his way, he almost always beats them. So that's just what you expect from Mathieu Jalibert. He looked really calm and collected at fullback. I must say, I actually liked him at fullback, to be honest. Yes, it's going to take some growing pains, some learning lessons. But I think for this tour, maybe against Ireland next week, he should play fullback because he was really good in that game. I thought he was excellent. 74 completed passes for Maxime Lucu as well. Just looking at some of the other ball carriers while in the game. Some really big ball carriers in this game. Brandon Paenga also coming on early in the game. I thought he had a solid game. 15 carries, and Jeremy Williams with 14 carries. Looking at some of the other stats throughout the game, meters carried, Jerome Mofana with 92 meters carried, Mathieu Jalibert with 84 meters carried, and you must think to yourself, maybe fullback actually suits a guy like Mathieu Jalibert quite well because he can run a bit more, he has a bit more time on his hands, but maybe that might not be the best thing for him because sometimes he plays with the screw loose sometimes, but that's what we love about him. Diawati Sogbe with 83 carries as well. Then line breaks, 2 for Diawati Sogbe, 2 for Jerome Mofana, and 2 for Aaron Grandidier in Kanang. What a finish from Nkanang. That was awesome from Grandidier in Kanang. I hope I'm saying that right, but you could see the sevens rugby coming through there, and he was absolutely excellent there to get that finish. You could see the speed, you could see the power. This guy's ready for international rugby as well, and I completely forgot about him as well, talking about the preview, because there's so many good players in the back line for both these teams that I completely forgot about him, but he's such a good guy for sevens as well, and now bringing that over to 15s. We've seen a lot of the times that those 7 stars do thrive in the 15s environment, especially when it comes to beating defenders and finishing those very difficult tries. So defenders beaten, 5 for Jalibert, 4 for Fraser McWright, and 4 for Jerome Mofana. Just shows Fraser McWright was everywhere today, and Jerome Mofana is really picking up his act recently. Some of the other stats in the game, we'll look at some of the defensive stats here just to see who else played really well here. Marco Gazzotti with 21 tackles, Fraser McWright with 20 tackles completed. This guy was absolutely everywhere, and you got to feel for a guy like that because he really put his body on the line just for the team to kind of fade away in the second half. You got to feel for a guy like that. Lenny Noshi with 19 tackles made, so 17 carries, 19 tackles made. A huge performance from Lenny Noshi, but you guys will see why in the player ratings later. There will be a player ratings coming out, so just pay attention for that one. Dominant tackles, 1 by Alan Ala Atoa, 1 by Diawati Sogbe, and 1 by Fabien Bralbury. So some really good performances from those guys there from France, and of course Fraser McWright from the Wallabies. Just another stat here, 22 meter entries. So the entries to the opposition's 22 meter line. 4.3 average points scored for the Wallabies, but only 6 entries. So if you do, the amount of times you enter, it really is important. Yes, 4.3 average points per entry is very good, but only 6 entries, you can have a problem. 13 entries to the opposition 22 from France, and an average of 2.7 points scored. Those points are going to rack up. Those points are going to keep coming. They're going to keep the scoreboard ticking as well. And you can just see that those are the stats that really matter. Now looking at the attacking profile, where the difference was made, I'll show you what it looks like here. So you can see where the lines are different colors, you can see that's where a big difference was made. And right here from the get-go, 22 meter entries is where a big difference was made. Post-contact meters, and of course line breaks as well. So 389 post-contact meters for France, 313 for the Wallabies. So both really high numbers there, but those post-contact meters from France actually were a lot more valuable because, yes, it might be very similar there, but the way France, what the things France did with those post-contact meters is what really made the difference. Getting the offloads done, keeping the ball alive, playing the quick ball. Maxime Lucu was really, really quick today, always at the breakdown, and the France do this very well. Even if the nine's not there, the first guy there, pick up the ball and play. They know exactly who they want to get the ball to. They know the quicker the ball is out, the quicker we can score tries. They know these things, and of course, 22 meter entries, 13 for France versus 6 for the Wallabies, and then post-contact meters and line breaks, of course, 14 line breaks for France versus 5 for the Wallabies. So those are the areas on attack where the differences were made. And now looking on defense, there's some big changes here. So tackles made, 216 for France, 140 for the Wallabies. So the Wallabies missing 29 tackles but only having to make 140, whereas France missing 23 tackles and having to make 216. So not the best stats there from the Wallabies at all. They're going to really have to pick up their game there. More dominant tackles there, less tackles missed, and there would be a much different scoreline here. It would be a much different scoreline, because can you imagine that 29 was a 12 or a 10? That would be 19 less missed tackles, and that's 19 more opportunities for France to get the offload, to get the ball going forward, for the Wallabies to track back on defense with a guy like Maxime Luku playing the ball quick to an Intermac, to a Jalibert. So a lot of these things play a massive factor in the game, and I think the Wallabies, you can clearly see that there's these little things they need to sort out, because they still do very well with the post-contact meters, with the defenders beaten, with the amount of carries they make. They do very well with these things in the game, and the defenders that their players can beat. But then France, the opportunities they get, they just use it more. So the Wallabies have to be more clinical. France use their opportunities well. That's kind of the storyline of the game, but a really good performance from France there, especially in the second half. I thought it was going to go down to the 80th minute, and my prediction was Australia to win. So, France fans, you can lay it into me in the comments. I honestly thought the Wallabies were going to win this game. I thought there were so many changes for France. I thought there's no way that this Wallabies team is going to let themselves go down 2 weeks in a row. But they did. A poor second half for the Wallabies, a great second half for France. And let me know which players stood out to you in the game, which players you thought were great in the game, who was your man of the match, and let me know why you thought the Wallabies struggled or why you thought France did so well in the game. So thank you so much for all the support. I'll see you for the player ratings later. Cheers.